What's cracking, everybody? It's the Sleeper King, and it is time to talk about rookie running backs and scheme fits with their brand new teams. Part 2. Maybe you're new here, maybe you missed part 1, I don't know. Anyways, as a reminder, I did chart 12 of the top rookie running backs coming into 2025. Let's start with Harvey there in Denver. What an interesting player this guy is. 5'8", 205 pounds. He's got the athleticism, man. He ran a 4.4 flat in the 40 with a really solid 38-inch vertical. I would compare this guy to a high strikeout home run hitter. On his plus plays, Harvey looks darn near unstoppable. But the problem is, at the same time, he had a lot of negative plays on the football field too. His 23.2 explosive run rate, that was the second highest among the charted class. Make no mistake, when Harvey finds an edge, he is gone. And I'm not talking about these 10 to 15 yard chunk plays, which I do count as explosives. I'm talking a lot of to the crib shots. How does he do it? Well, he breaks a lot of tackles. His broken tackle rate was tops in the class. Going back to those strikeouts, his 42.9 run stuff rate was comically bad. It was the stone cold worst among the charted class. Where does this guy succeed? It's clearly on the outside. His 77.8% success rate on outside runs, it was second in the class only to Ashton Jincy. So what is the fit in Sean Payton's Denver Bronco offense? I think it's hard to say, because Sean Payton ran an incredibly balanced run attack. He was about league average when it came to man gap plays, about league average when it came to zone concept plays, about league average when it came to inside running, and about league average when it came to outside running as well. So from a pure scheme perspective, I do think it's a little bit of an awkward fit, but let me just say this. I think Sean Payton's gonna figure it out. Looking at the running back depth chart, Harvey, though, has a great chance to be an every down back, and for fantasy football, that's kind of sort of all that matters. Javonte Williams is gone, and the team only brought in the oft-injured J.K. Dobbins. Audric Estime does lurk as well, but I think he's more of a short yardage back. Match score for Harvey, we'll call it 7.5 out of 10. Woody Marks with the Houston Texans, again, is a very interesting fit. He's 5'10", 207 pounds. I would say he's a plus athlete. He's not elite, but he's plus. He ran a 4.54 40 with a 35-inch vertical. There are some really positive marks on his profile, but then there's this one thing, this one stat that I think will prevent him from getting on the football field, and I'll explain. I think Woody Marks is at his best when he's stretching it to the outside, looking for cutback lanes. And he's hunting for these cutback lanes so much that it shouldn't surprise you that he actually had a 23.3 explosive run rate. That was the best in the charted class. The best version of what Woody Marks can be as a player can probably be highlighted in that 70-yard run against Michigan. It was a gap scheme run, but Woody Marks, with his vision, found a cutback lane, and man, he was awesome. He broke 3 tackles all the way out for a 70-yard run. Plus, I think Woody Marks got great hands too. This guy can run real running back routes. He's gonna be a plus in that department. So from a scheming perspective, it's actually, I think, a great fit there in Houston. I know they brought on a new offensive coordinator, Nick Caley, so we're not sure whether they're going to run a lot of inside concepts or outside concepts. One, because McVay over the last couple of years with Kyren Williams was so heavy on inside zone. But prior to that, we're talking about a guy in McVay that, lived and died. It was a staple of a McVay offense for outside zone. The connective tissue for me is DeMeco Ryans. He comes from San Francisco, so he understands and he knows and he's familiar with that outside zone run concept. I think they bring in Nick Caley, and I think they basically institute that outside zone. So from a schematic standpoint, I think that is freaking great. It's great for Woody Marks. This is the problem. He was a liability in pass blocking. Woody Marks was dead last, by a country mile, in the pass blocking success rate. Now, can he clean that up? Maybe. If he does and finds a consistent role on this football team, he has a real opportunity to do something special. Joe Mixon has seen a lot of wear and tear, and with all the additions in the wide receiver room, I think there's going to be a lot of touchdown opportunities for whoever the starting running back is. So player match score, 6.5 out of 10 if he can figure out pass blocking. If he can't figure out blitz pickups, 1.5 out of 10. By the way, if you enjoy videos like this, man, consider hitting that like and subscribe button to this channel. And right now, RotoWire is going to give you 15% off any RotoWire subscription by using my code, KOH15. That's KOH15. Check out RotoWire's draft kit, their mock draft simulator, and of course, all the rankings you need from some of the best analysts in the game. All right, let's talk about Kaleb Johnson there in Pittsburgh. He comes from Iowa. And while the rest of the NCAA has moved on to spread concepts, Kirk Ferentz, the head coach there at Iowa, I love him. But man, he is running an old school 90s, maybe an 80s style run scheme. A ton of stuff from under center, and I gotta be honest with you, I love him for it. Kaleb Johnson ran from under center on 62% of his rush attempts last year. The 2024 prospect average was just 12.9% from under center. That being said, because it's so weird, Kaleb Johnson, in my opinion, is actually a lot further along in his NFL development because of that play style. I think Kaleb Johnson is at his absolute peak form when he can use his athleticism and run outside. Hey, and guess what? That's good because Arthur Smith also does the same thing. The Steelers last year ran outside run concepts at the 11th highest rate in the NFL in 2024. When you take a look at the depth chart, I do wonder if Kaleb Johnson actually supplants Jaylen Warren. There's nothing indicating that right this second, so for my opinion, I think it might be a true 50-50 split, just like we saw last year. Match score, 9.5 out of 10. Jarquez Hunter joins the Rams out of Auburn. He's 5'9", 204 pounds, and ran a very respectable 4.4440. The vertical leap, though, of 33.5 inches, I think that's a little bit below average. I'm not saying it's bad, I just think it's slightly below what you would like to see. And I think that shows up on tape too. Jarquez Hunter, and I mean this in the nicest possible way, but he's a really, really nice straight line player. And it's not like he can't make the cutback. It's just that if he sees daylight going straight, he's gonna hit that hole and he's gonna hit it hard. I think he's great for the pro game because instead of hunting for these big plays, these cutbacks or whatever it might be, I think Jarquez Hunter is very content with plowing forward and gets you positive yards. As a result, that's why Hunter posted the third highest man gap success rates and the third highest zone success rates last year among the charted class. He was the only prospect to be top 5 in both categories. Where Hunter really thrived was on inside zone running plays. His 75% success rate on inside zone plays, tops in the class. So kudos to the Rams scouting department because they found a player that fits perfectly with what the Rams want to do. They ran zone at the 8th highest rate in the NFL last year. They ran it inside at the 3rd highest rate. Before you get too excited though, the problem is that the depth chart is thicker than a phone book right now. I don't care what Sean McVay says to the press. His history shows us that he goes with one guy and he's going with one guy until the wheels fall off. And that player right now is Kyren Williams. Kyren took home nearly 79% of the running back opportunities last year. That was the highest running back share in the entire NFL last year. Higher than Derrick Henry, higher than Saquon Barkley. Then as a backup, let's not forget that the Rams did spend a 3rd round pick on Blake Corum, who I also really like. If we were just talking about scheme, player match, 10 out of 10. But because we do have to incorporate the depth chart, player match, 6.5 out of 10. Bhayshul Tuten out of Virginia Tech might be the most athletic, the most explosive running back in this class. What the Jaguars drafted is a 5'9", 206-pound firecracker. He ran an insane 4.3240 and he posted a 40.5-inch vertical. Tuten is a straight up beast athlete. Okay, so let's talk about scheme fit. Significantly better in zone versus man gap. His 70.6 success rate on zone concepts, that was the 2nd best of the charted class. Meanwhile, his 41.7% success rate on man gap scheme, that was the 2nd worst in the charted class. We are talking about a running back that is hunting for outside run plays. Between the tackles, not so much. So as for the Jaguars, we know they brought in Liam Cohen. In Tampa Bay, the Buccaneers ran the ball to the outside at the 8th highest rate in the NFL. So overall, pretty good match there. The problem is the Buccaneers also ran man gap at the 7th highest rate. And like I said, Tuten is not that guy. It is fair to point out, and I think this is really telling, that Liam Cohen did spend 2 different stints with Sean McVay and the LA Rams. And on that front, we know that the Rams, they love to run zone concepts. So I think Liam Cohen actually brings that in to Duval. We have to talk about the depth chart. Travis Etienne inexplicably fell off the map last year. And Tank Bigsby, while we like him as a runner, man, it is awfully tough to trust him as a pass-catching option. I'm focusing on Etienne. It's really hard to predict who's going to get the first crack at the starting job, but because Etienne is a recent first-round pick, I do think he will get the first chance. That being said, the coaching staff and the front office who made that decision, they're gone. And I think that gives Tuten a real chance to take the starting job. Player match score, 8.5 out of 10.